What's up guys, today's video is on the top 3 best Garmin watches in 2024. Through extensive research and testing, I've put together a list of options that'll meet the needs of different types of buyers, so whether it's price, performance, or its particular use, we've got you covered. For more information on the products, I've included links in the description box down below which are updated for the best prices. Now let's get started. Number 3. Garmin Forerunner 265S. The Forerunner 265S comes in 3 colorways: white, black, and pink. As with most modern Garmin watches, the straps are interchangeable. When it's not turned on, the Forerunner 265 looks pretty much the same as the Forerunner 255. It's still the same, round display, with 5 different buttons to navigate around the watch, 3 on the left, and 2 on the right. That said, there's one small change to these buttons. The top start to stop button on the right-hand side now says run, and is slightly larger. This is a small change, but a handy reminder of which button to press when you want to pause your watch mid-run. Once you turn the screen on, however, the changes are far more obvious. The Forerunner 265 has a bright, beautiful AMOLED display. It's the same AMOLED screen you'll also see on the brand new Garmin Forerunner 965. Despite the brighter display, the battery life of the Forerunner 265 has pretty much stayed the same. The 265S has a 15-day battery life in smartwatch mode, and a 24-hour battery life in GPS mode. The 265 has 13 days in smartwatch mode, and 20 hours in GPS mode. Normally, it's the larger of the two watches that has the longer battery life, but it seems with the bigger and brighter screen, the larger 265 will need charging ever so slightly sooner. The Forerunner 265 has all of the same health features of the 255, which received a huge upgrade, and inherited a lot of the features usually reserved for Garmin's more expensive watches. Of course, the main reason you buy a running watch is to help keep track of your training. The Forerunner 265 still excels from this standpoint. There's still the multisport mode. It still tracks just about every sport under the sun, and you can still customize every data screen from your phone or the watch itself. The latter is even easier now the watch has a touchscreen. The Forerunner 265 feels like a more premium running watch, and it's all thanks to its beautiful screen. Number 2. Garmin Forerunner 965. The Forerunner 965 is available in a grey titanium and a titanium bezel. The Forerunner 965 looks pretty identical to the Forerunner 955, aside from the slightly different bezel. Both watches can be controlled using 5 buttons, 3 on the left, 2 on the right, and a touch screen. That said, the Forerunner 965 is ever so slightly bigger, 47.2 mm per 1.4 inches. When you turn the watch on, however, it's a different story. The Forerunner 965 has a much brighter screen than the Forerunner 955. The latter has a 64-color MIP display with a resolution of 260 by 260 pixels. The Forerunner 965 has an AMOLED display with a resolution of 454 by 545 pixels. The Forerunner 965 has a touch screen, although it's automatically disabled during activities, and you can turn it off entirely and just use the watch button should you wish. One area where Garmin excels compared to other sports watches on the market is its battery life. Despite its brighter screen, the battery life of the Forerunner 965 is pretty similar to that of the Forerunner 955. From a health perspective, the Forerunner 965 has all of the same features as the Forerunner 955, but the battery life, and the additional health features packed into this watch. The Forerunner 965 has more sports modes than you could ever need. In fact, you'll probably ignore most of them, but it's reassuring to know that should you ever take up snowshoeing or bouldering, your watch could track it. The AMOLED screen of the Forerunner 965 does elevate it from a smartwatch perspective. It's bright, it looks cool, and the touchscreen allows you to scroll around the watch with ease. You can also view your smartphone notifications from the watch, although if you're on iOS, you still can't respond to them. The Forerunner 965 is a beautiful running watch, jam-packed with tools that'll help you get a better understanding of your training and recovery. The screen is fantastic and elevates the watch from a smartwatch perspective, but also on the go. Viewing maps on the Forerunner 965 is a much crisper, clearer experience. Number 1, Garmin Fenix 7 Sapphire Solar. The Garmin Fenix 7 is that the newer model now has a touch screen, which allows you to swipe through and tap options like you would on any of the best smartwatches. There are also buttons on the watch, so you can completely ignore the touch screen should you wish. By default, pretty much all of the sports modes on the Fenix 7 have touchscreen disabled, so starting and stopping an activity cannot be done using the touchscreen. On the run, the screen is easy to see, even in direct sunlight, and like all Garmin running watches, it's easy to navigate around the watch without having to stop and stand still. The battery life is another area where the Garmin Fenix 7 packs a huge punch over its competitors, and this is partly down to the range solar capabilities. Solar charging was first introduced on the Garmin Fenix 6 series and has been added to the Garmin Instinct and Enduro series. The solar charging elements of the watches include a thin rim, which surrounds the inside edge of the display, and a layer below the glass. In the Fenix 7, Garmin says they have significantly improved the solar capabilities of the watch. The Garmin Fenix 7 has Garmin's Elevate V4 sensor, which we first saw in the Garmin Venu 2, but is now available in a number of other watches in the line. The sensor monitors heart rate, as well as blood oxygen levels. The sensor on the back flashes green when it's measuring heart rate, and red when it's measuring blood oxygen. The Fenix 7 is a more impressive smartwatch than the Fenix 6. For example, the touchscreen makes it far easier to navigate around the watch. The Fenix 7 just feels better. It's easier to use, thanks to things like the ability to customize the entire watch from your phone, and nicer to look at, thanks to more visual elements, like the race predictor. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.